The whisper in the walls. I never believed in ghosts. Not really. Growing up, I'd listened to stories about haunted houses and cursed objects with a skeptical eye. But all that changed when I moved into the old house on Elm Street. I'd been looking for a fresh start. The breakup had hit me harder than I wanted to admit. So when I found the two-story, worn-down house with the creaky floors and ancient walls, it seemed perfect. Quiet, cheap, and isolated. Just what I needed to reset my life. The first few nights were uneventful. I spent my time unpacking boxes, getting used to the eerie silence that seemed to hang over the house like a heavy fog. It was an old place, after all. Creaks and groans were part of its charm, or so I told myself. But then I started hearing the whispers. At first I thought it was the wind. You know how old houses are, with drafts sneaking through the tiniest cracks. But this was different. It wasn't a faint rustling of leaves or the hum of the breeze. It was soft, distinct, and human. At night, just as I was about to drift off, I'd hear a faint voice, muffled, like someone was standing behind the walls. Help me. I'd lie there, heart pounding, convincing myself it was just my imagination. But it wasn't. The voice grew louder each night, whispering the same desperate plea. The sound seemed to move, sometimes from the corner of my bedroom, sometimes from the hallway outside my door. One night I couldn't take it anymore. Armed with a flashlight, I followed the sound. It was late, maybe around 3 a.m., when the whispering seemed to come from the basement. I had never gone down there, too unnerved by its musty smell and pitch-black darkness. But now it was as if the voice was begging me to go. The stairs creaked under my weight as I descended, the air growing colder with each step. The whispers were clearer now, unmistakable. Please, help. I stood at the bottom of the stairs, shining the flashlight over the damp stone walls, feeling a chill crawl up my spine. The walls themselves seemed to pulse with the voice like they were alive. My hand, trembling, reached out and brushed against the rough surface. The moment my fingers touched the wall, it felt wrong, too soft, too warm. And then, as if on instinct, I pulled away and realized there was something behind the wall. A faint outline, a hidden door, almost like it had been plastered over in a hurry, as if someone wanted it sealed forever. I had to know what was there. Grabbing an old hammer from the basement's dusty shelves, I chipped away at the wall, brick by brick. The whispers grew frantic, pleading now, "Don't, please, don't!" But I couldn't stop. Finally, the last bit of stone crumbled, revealing a small, narrow room. The air that rushed out was thick, stale, and suffocating. My flashlight flickered as I shone it inside, and that's when I saw it. Sitting in the middle of the tiny room, a small wooden box covered in dust, as if it hadn't been touched in decades. I hesitated, every instinct in my body screaming at me to leave it alone, but I couldn't. I opened the box. Inside was a worn, yellowed letter. The handwriting was shaky, desperate. I could barely make out the words, "They trapped me here. Don't let them out." Before I could process what that meant, the whispering stopped, and in the sudden, deafening silence I heard it, a slow, deliberate knock coming from behind me. I turned, my breath catching in my throat. The basement door, the one I had left wide open, was now shut, and the whispers were no longer coming from the walls. They were behind me, right behind me. I ran, heart pounding, legs shaking, but the whispers followed. Every night since, they're there, closer, clearer, angrier. The walls are no longer enough to contain them, and now, every time I close my eyes, I can hear that same terrible voice in my ear. "Why didn't you..." listen, and I know, deep down, they're coming for me, just like they came for the last one. And next, they'll come for you. Subscribe for more stories, if you dare.